The Ukrainian defense forces are successfully advancing on two fronts and consolidating their positions, the Ukrainian General Staff says. In preparation for the Ukrainian offensive, the Russian army has built a system of defensive lines from the western coast of the temporarily occupied Crimea to the Russian-Belarusian border, but they are no longer able to hold these fortifications.
In defense, according to the statuses dating back to Soviet time, which are clearly adhered to in offensive and defensive strategy by the Russian army, there should be about 5 regiments and 1 battalion per 30 kilometers of front. This is the standard, the mandatory standard for holding a 30 kilometers wide front. Today we are talking about a much longer front that the Russian occupiers can afford to hold.
The Russians threw all their resources at the front, trying to stop Ukrainians' army advance. Therefore, neither minefields, nor the Prigozhin lines, nor the Dragon's Teeth prevent the Russian volunteers from entering the Belgrade region practically unhindered on May 22nd.
By throwing everything they have at the front line, they have denied themselves the kind of security system they should have been built in the border regions. This raid showed the failure of the security structures of the Russian Federation and, in fact, the lack of interaction between representatives of local authorities and law enforcement agencies.
During the raids, fighters of the Russian Volunteer Corps and the Legion of Freedom of Russia destroy Russian military equipment and take control of some settlements. Thus, the village of Novaya Volzhanka, which, according to the information of aggressor's country defense ministry, was twice repelled by the Russian military, is under full control of the Russian Volunteer Corps, the volunteers claim. Local and federal authorities, in fact, are inactive.
So, friends, the Moscow authorities have shifted responsibility to the regional authorities, and the regional authorities are not in a position to control their own subordinate territory. The fighters of the Russian Volunteer Corps have no one to talk to, so we are taking power into our hands.
Putin himself first reacted to the situation in the border region only a week ago, calling the Russian rebel raids a problem.
They are afraid to broadcast these sentiments to the rest of the world, because it will show the vulnerability of their border, which is the responsibility of the FSB. Secondly, it is a blow to Putin's image. Don't forget that the Kremlin is building a specific election campaign strategy for 2024, where Putin defends and challenges the West. What kind of image would it be if he cannot even control the border and ensure the stability there? It contradicts his entire image.
Russian volunteers have announced a new raid into Russian-occupied Crimea. The fighters appealed to residents of the peninsula by radio, asking them to remain calm and assist the volunteers as much as possible.
Dear residents of Ukrainian Crimea, the Freedom of Russia Legion and the Russian Volunteer Corps will soon make a volunteer raid on the territory of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea, which is temporarily occupied by the Putin's regime. We, the Free Russia volunteers, consider it our duty to help Crimeans cleanse the peninsula from the war criminal Putin's gangs.
Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Valeria Nikipelova, UATV News.